You know, when we think about how cities get built, we usually picture architects, giant cranes, official blueprints, right? But that's really only half the story. Today, we're going to look at the other half. It's this global story of incredible ingenuity, of community, and it's about how a billion people are literally building their world from the ground up.
From way up here, yeah, it might look like pure chaos. But what you're seeing is a city. It's a neighborhood. And for over a billion people, that's 1/8 of all of us on this planet, this is home.
So the first reaction for a lot of people is just to see disorder, a total mess. But that's exactly the idea we're here to challenge. Is it really just chaos? Or is there something else going on? A complex, vibrant community that's operating with its own logic, its own set of rules, and honestly, its own kind of genius. To answer that, we have to push way beyond the stereotype. We've got to peel back those simple labels we tend to use, words like slum or shantytown, and really look at what's happening on the ground. Think about this number for a second. 1 in 8. That means 1 out of every 8 people on this planet lives in a home that wasn't built by some big corporation, but by their own hands or with the help of their neighbors. This isn't some fringe story. It's absolutely central to the human experience today. Okay, so let's just dive right in and tackle that first big impression head on. This whole idea of the lawless, chaotic slum. It's probably one of the single biggest misunderstandings there is about these places. So the myth? That these are just random piles of buildings thrown together without any thought. But the reality is so much more complex. What looks like chaos from the outside is actually this incredibly sophisticated social order, and it's all governed by unwritten rules that everybody just understands. And these aren't formal laws written down in some book. They're powerful social contracts. You've got neighbors negotiating property lines, people respecting the shared pathways that everyone needs to use. They actually build in ways that make sure their neighbor doesn't lose their line of sight or access to a cool breeze. It's this constant, living negotiation that literally shapes the entire community. And this picture just illustrates it perfectly. Look at that web of pathways. They aren't random at all. They're the veins and arteries of this community. Every single turn, every window you can see is the physical result of hundreds of social agreements. It's like architecture by conversation. All right, on to the second big myth, the idea that these are just flimsy shacks built from garbage. This completely mistakes resourcefulness for randomness. I'm telling you, there is a hidden genius at work in how these homes are actually built. Okay, get this. Take a common car tire. In our world, it's just garbage, right? Well, here, it's a life-changing building block. People collect these discarded tires, pack them super tight with earth, and then stack them up to create these incredibly strong retaining walls. Now, if you're on a steep, unstable hillside, this is the very thing that makes it possible to safely build a home. That's not trash, that's brilliant engineering. Or check this out. Plastic bottles, a total global pollution nightmare, are gathered up and packed with sand or other stuff to become what they call eco-bricks. They can be used as filler, for insulation, even as actual structural parts of a wall. It's just this amazing transformation of waste into a really valuable resource. So here's the really crucial point. These builders are basically acting as material scientists. They have to understand the properties of whatever they can find around them. They experiment, they innovate, and they find strength and value in the very things our society has just thrown away. And that brings us to myth number 3, the idea that these settlements are static, that someone builds a shack and it just stays that way forever. But the truth is, these are houses that grow. They evolve, step by step, right alongside the families who live in them. This timeline tells a story you see again and again. It starts small, maybe with just a single room, a foothold. Then, as the family saves up some money, maybe they lay a permanent foundation, build real walls with concrete blocks. Years later, as the kids get older, they add a second story. And then, maybe 10 years in, that ground floor gets turned into a little shop, making the home an engine for the family's whole economy. You see, the house isn't a product, it's a process. You see this detail all over the world, these steel reinforcement bars, rebar, just sticking out of the top of a roof. To an outsider, it probably just looks unfinished. But to the family and the entire community, it's this incredibly powerful symbol. It's a statement of intent. It's a placeholder for the future. It says, we're not done, we are building for the next generation. So now that we've looked past some of these stereotypes, what can we take away from all this? What are the real lessons we can learn from this incredible way of building, literally, from the ground up? This. Right here, this is probably the most important shift in perspective you can have. For decades, the official approach has been to see these places as a problem that needs to be cleared away or fixed. But what if we saw them instead as a deeply human, complex process that we really need to understand and maybe even learn from? I mean, the lessons here are just profound. We learn about true resilience when resources are scarce. We get to witness the incredible power of community collaboration, where the social bonds are the real foundation. We see a kind of design that organically adapts to how people actually live, and maybe even a more sustainable way for cities to grow, incrementally, affordably, and from the bottom up. And that really leaves us with one last massive question. In this age of housing crises and big questions about sustainability, what can our formal, planned, modern cities learn from the billion people who, out of sheer necessity and a whole lot of genius, are building their own urban future?